She's just gonna sit in the car. She didn't graduate, so don't ruin the pictures. My mom said it with a smirk. My brother laughed. And Dad didn't even look at me. The heat in the car wasn't what made my chest ache. It was the way their laughter echoed through the cracked window, like I didn't exist. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. Time slowed. The steakhouse door shut behind them. The valet gave me a pity glance. I looked down at my hands on the steering wheel. So, my name is Danielle. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Have you ever been treated like the shadow in your own family? Like the mistake they never wanted to admit? I watched through the windshield as they posed with my brother in his robe, champagne flutes, camera flashes, arms wrapped around pride. Meanwhile, I wasn't even offered a glass of water. They didn't ask how my job search was going. They didn't mention the scholarship I lost after getting sick sophomore year. To them, if you didn't walk the stage, you weren't worth dressing up for. It wasn't the dinner that broke me. It was the way my mom tilted her head and whispered, "Try to be happy for him, okay?" Like I was a threat to joy. A disruption. An embarrassment. And I guess that's when something in me snapped back into place. I didn't peel out of the parking lot. I just eased the car into gear, the one they never paid a cent toward, and drove off without a word. I didn't go home. I went somewhere else. Somewhere I'd been preparing quietly while they mocked me for doing nothing. Somewhere with keys, paperwork, and signatures they never knew I had access to. I had never been their golden child. But I was about to become their golden landlord. And by the time they finished dessert, the balance of power had already shifted. Just not in the direction they'd ever imagined. The next morning I parked across the street from their house. Coffee in hand. Calm in my chest. They were still sleeping. I knew the routine. Dad would rise at 6:30 to do his little power walk around the block. Mom would scroll through her phone in bed, checking Facebook for compliments on last night's photos. All smiles. All performance. They had no idea what I'd done. I watched the porch lights flicker off. A morning breeze shifted the wind chimes. And then I saw it. My dad in his sweatshirt and sneakers opening the front door like it was just another day. But this time there was something new taped dead center on the door. A plain white envelope. And bold black marker across it. To the tenants. He frowned. Pulled it down. Opened it right there on the step. His eyes scanned the page. His jaw stiffened. Then he turned back into the house, fast. 10 minutes later I saw the curtains twitch. Mom peered out. Phone in hand. And then came the call. Blocked number. I let it ring. Then the text. What is this? Danny, this isn't funny. Come home. Dad, you wouldn't dare. This is our house. But it wasn't. Not anymore. 6 months ago I found out the house wasn't in their name anymore. They'd sold it temporarily to avoid foreclosure and bought it back through a shady trust deal with a friend. The friend? Mr. Kaplan. My old professor. The man who believed in me when I dropped out, and who secretly offered to sell me the lien if I could match his holding cost. So I worked. Nights. Weekends. Cheap ramen and 3 jobs. Quietly saving, quietly waiting. Last week I wired the money. And on Thursday, while my family was picking out outfits for my brother's big night, I became the legal owner of the home I grew up in. I didn't do it for revenge. But now that it was mine, I wasn't about to let them treat it or me like trash anymore. Mom called again. I answered this time. Just 3 words. Check the deed. And hung up. The silence that followed. It wasn't just golden. It was mine. By noon the group chat exploded. We raced you. Dad, you ungrateful little girl. My brother. W is your problem? Seriously. I didn't respond. I just let their words hang in the digital air like steam off hot concrete. Ungrateful? They fed me. Clothed me. Yes. But only when it made them look good. When I was 17 and hospitalized for 2 weeks, my mom told people it was just stress because I was lazy. When I cried during my brother's senior prom because they didn't buy me a dress for mine, she laughed. You're not the pretty one, baby. It's okay. I swallowed that pain for years like it was mine to carry. But this was mine too, legally and fully. The doorbell rang just past 1 p.m. I watched from down the street, parked behind a hedge like a quiet ghost as they opened it, and found a courier holding a clipboard. Eviction notice. Standard 60 days. I hadn't changed the locks. I wasn't throwing them into the street. I was following the law. The same law that never seemed to protect me when I was under their roof. I could see my dad's silhouette in the doorway, fists balled at his sides. Mom's voice muffled but shrill. This is a joke. This is sick. But what they never understood was this. Silence has a memory. And mine remembered everything. Every missed birthday. Every, why can't you be more like him? Every whispered conversation when they thought I was asleep. I wasn't trying to hurt them. I was finally listening to myself. 4 years I kept waiting for them to see me. Not as a failure, not as the dropout, not as the background noise to my brother's Golden Boy soundtrack. Just me. But if they wouldn't give me a seat at the table, I'd own the damn house the table was in. And no, they didn't believe it until that paper hit their hands. It's funny. My mom once said, the pen is mightier than the sword. She should have known what happens when the girl with the quiet voice finally picks one up. They didn't move out. Of course they didn't. Instead, my mom started playing the sympathy card, posting teary Facebook updates about betrayal and kids these days. She's mentally unwell, she wrote. She's punishing us for loving her brother more. We just wanted her to try harder. Try harder? I tried so hard I shattered. But your mom. Rewrite history. Make me the villain. It's what you're good at. My brother, Ryan, showed up at my apartment the next night, pounding on the door like a cop. I didn't open it. He shouted through the door, voice full of venom. This is low, Danny. You're evicting your own family. I leaned against the wall, heart pounding. But I said nothing. Because I knew what he'd never admit. He loved being the favorite. He thrived in the spotlight that came from my shadow. He once told me, just accept that I'm the achiever and you're the artist. Mom and Dad need someone to brag about. And I did. For years I swallowed that line like communion. Like it was truth. But not anymore. The next day I sent them another letter. This one handwritten. I'm not asking you to leave because I hate you. I'm asking because this is the first time in my life I've built something that's mine. And you don't get to poison it. You don't get to belittle it. Or me. That night the porch lights didn't turn on. No movement behind the curtains. No calls. Just silence. It didn't feel triumphant. It felt quiet. Like the kind of quiet right before a storm. Or a healing. Because what no one tells you is, revenge doesn't come with a marching band. Sometimes it arrives like this. A girl with a tired heart. A deed with her name on it. And a front door she never thought she'd control. The locks were still the same. But the key finally was mine. I visited the house the next morning. Not to gloat. Not to threaten. But because I needed to see it, one last time before I changed everything. The street was quiet. The magnolia tree in the front yard was blooming, just like it had every spring since I was 5. But the house felt smaller now. I knocked. Twice. No one answered. So I unlocked the door with my key. The living room still smelled like my childhood. Cinnamon candles and lemon cleaner. The sofa had the same scratch from when Ryan spilled grape juice and blamed me. And the hallway still had that crooked photo of his graduation. The one where I was cropped out. I stood there for a long time, breathing in memories that never loved me back. Then my mom appeared at the top of the stairs. No makeup. No jewelry. Just a robe and that look. The one that used to freeze me as a kid. But I didn't flinch. She said, we made mistakes, but this is cruel. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time I didn't feel small. I didn't feel scared. I said, you made choices. So did I. Her mouth tightened. You're really going through with this? I nodded. 60 days. I'll even help with the movers. She laughed, not kindly. You're just bitter. I stepped forward, calm and clear. No. I'm done being bitter. That girl sat in your driveway and waited for love to open the door. She's gone. I left the house without another word. Outside the sun hit the shingles just right. The wind caught the petals from the magnolia tree and spun them around my feet like a quiet celebration. It wasn't just about property anymore. It was about identity. Boundaries. Power. And no matter how they tried to twist it, I hadn't taken anything from them. I had simply reclaimed myself. Not as their daughter. Not as Ryan's failed sister. But as the woman they never saw coming. The first for sale sign went up on their front lawn by week 3. They still hadn't moved. But now, instead of pretending everything was fine, they were bargaining. Dad called first. He wanted to talk numbers, said maybe they could buy the house back if I knocked a few zeros off the market value for old time's sake. I almost laughed. This was the same man who once said, "You'll never make money doing what you do. Just marry someone successful." Now he was trying to negotiate with the daughter he ignored at dinner tables. I said, "The market's hot, Dad. Might want to get a realtor." Mom's next tactic was guilt. She sent a photo of the fireplace mantel. Framed family pictures lined up like memories I was supposed to miss. One of them was me, age 10, holding up a spelling bee trophy. She wrote, "You were always smart. We just didn't want to make your brother feel small." That was their love. Conditional, calculated, cruel in quiet ways. They didn't hit. They didn't scream. They just erased me in slow, polite silence, until I forgot what being seen felt like. But now they saw me. Their friends started asking questions. "What happened to your house?" Mom lied. Dad stumbled. And slowly the image cracked, the perfect family slipping out of their hands like sand. Meanwhile I was painting. The unit above mine had gone up for sale. I bought it. Renovated it myself. White walls. Gold hardware. Sunlight everywhere. A fresh space I didn't have to shrink inside. One night I got a message. From Ryan. "I get it now. I don't like how you did it, but I get it. They never made space for you. I'm sorry I didn't either." I stared at the words until my screen dimmed. No defense. No excuses. Just honesty. It didn't fix everything, but it made something loosen in my chest. And sometimes the first apology isn't about healing them. It's about letting yourself exhale for the first time in years, and realizing you never needed their permission to begin. The movers came on a Tuesday. I didn't go. I stayed at my apartment, window open, coffee brewing, hands steady. The same hands that once trembled holding my brother's leftover textbooks, now held closing documents and keys to 2 properties. Around 3 p.m. I got a text from the real estate agent I hired to sell the house. "They're out. Property is officially vacant." I sat in silence for a long time, staring at the words. Not out of satisfaction, but out of something deeper. Something like peace, the kind I hadn't known since childhood. That night I drove over. Alone. The house stood still under the fading sky. Empty porch. Bare windows. No laughter behind the walls. Just space. I walked room to room. No furniture. No voices. No pictures of Ryan on the wall. Only echoes. And for the first time I could hear myself think. I walked into my old bedroom, the one they turned into a storage closet the day Ryan moved back in. The walls were still the same pale blue. I sat on the bare floor, leaned back against the wall, and let the silence wrap around me. No one telling me to shrink. No one asking me to understand why I didn't matter as much. No one minimizing my dreams to protect their comfort. I pulled out a small folder from my bag, plans I'd sketched over the last year. A vision. Not revenge. Restoration. I wasn't going to flip the house. I was going to turn it into a creative co-op. A space for students like me who'd lost scholarships, family support, or just needed a soft place to land. A place where no one would ever be told to wait in the car. The sign would go up next week. The open house project. Built by the one they left outside. This wasn't about punishment anymore. It was about taking the same soil that once buried me, and planting something fearless in its place. The morning of the launch was quiet. Not somber, just still. Like the universe had paused, just long enough to watch something new begin. I stood outside the house, my house, in a navy blazer and flats covered in specks of paint. The new sign gleamed softly in the morning light. The Open House Project. A community for creators, dreamers, and the forgotten. I didn't need a ribbon-cutting ceremony. No cameras. No press. Just one folding chair, 2 fresh notebooks, and a kettle of tea warming in the kitchen. The first student arrived just after 9 a.m. A nervous-looking girl named April, 17, clutching a worn-out portfolio and looking around like she might be trespassing. I stepped onto the porch and smiled. "You're right on time," I said. She blinked, then whispered, "I thought it might be a scam. My mom said nobody gives out space for free." I smiled gently. "Tell her I'm nobody then." We walked inside together. I showed her the room that used to be my parents', now stripped bare and painted sunlight yellow. A desk. A lamp. A window that finally opened all the way. Her hands shook as she placed her sketchbook on the table. When I left her to settle in, I caught a glimpse of her first drawing. A girl sitting in a car alone watching a family laugh in the distance. My throat tightened. This house wasn't haunted anymore. It was healing. Around noon the doorbell rang. I didn't expect anyone else until the next day, but when I opened it my brother stood there. Ryan. No cap. No sarcasm. Just him, older than I remembered, softer than he'd ever let himself be. He held a box. I figured you'd throw this out, he said. But I saved it. Thought maybe you should have it. Inside. My spelling bee trophy. The one Mom hid behind Ryan's football medals. It was a small gesture. But honest. He glanced around. You did all this? I nodded. He scratched his head. Looks better than it ever did growing up. I laughed. That's because there's room here now. He leaned against the doorway, unsure. You think I could come by sometime? Help out. Maybe meet some of the students. I studied him. Not the golden child, not the arrogant boy who once told me to stay out of his photos. Just a man, unsure of where he fit now. Only if you wait in the car first, I teased. His eyes widened. Then we both laughed, and for the first time in our lives, it wasn't at my expense. He left soon after, and I stood on the porch watching the sky shift into late afternoon. The same porch I once waited on for their approval. The same porch where I taped a letter that turned the story upside down. But now it was a beginning. 1 month later, 3 students had moved in. 5 were on the waiting list. I got an offer from a nonprofit to fund another space on the other side of town. And as I signed the contract, I heard my mom's voice in my head, that line she loved so much. You never graduated, so don't ruin the celebration. He was right. I didn't graduate. I rebuilt. Without them. Because of them. Beyond them. And this time when I threw the party, they weren't invited. I stood beneath the new sign one last time before heading inside. And whispered to myself,